What is something that exists solely because of stupid people? When my aunt died, I ended up with my mom and uncle talking to the funeral home advisor. When they were discussing cremation, the funeral advisor made my uncle sign a form that he understands cremation is irreversible. Funeral director here. On its own it's pretty dumb. However, there is another part that is usually a separate section. But it goes with the part that states that once cremation begins it has to go to completion. I have had people try to get me to stop the cremation and just fix them back up because some relative wanted a final viewing but didn't get notified. That's when that part suddenly becomes very relevant. Because while I'm pretty good at my job, I'm not that good. Pointing out that it's irreversible is usually the part that calms them down. Do not eat warnings on everything from washing pods to slug pellets. TV announcer. Warning. Tickets should not be taken internally. Double quote. Homer. See? Because of me now they have a warning. Double quote. The warning on a Superman cape costume that warns product won't give you the ability to fly. That primarily exists because of a stupid legal system. Very vulnerable to exploitation. Edit. Oh look. So do a whole lot of the popular answers. No smoking signs at gas stations. I was at a gas station in a rural area filling my tank and noticed that the entire base of the pump was used as an ashtray for cigarette butts. It broke my brain. Flat Earth Society. I'm cool with these harmless stupid people. It's when dumb people try to tell people what to do or how to live that I start to get worried. Thinking the earth is flat is probably one of the dumbest things ever, but it's pretty harmless. I've seen labels on jars of peanut butter warning allergy sufferers that they contain peanuts. But that really exists because of lawyers. A person allergic to peanuts might eat the peanut butter anyway, have a severe reaction, and end up suing because there wasn't a warning on the jar saying people with nut allergies shouldn't eat it. Pretty sure it's because there's probably a CFR somewhere along the lines of products containing or produced in facilities handling peanuts require a label stating such. And so by the word of the law, it's required for even the most obvious products to have that label. Warning. Fire is hot. Actually, this was one of two things we didn't have to warn about when I was a tech writer for a major appliance manufacturer. The other was knives are sharp. Both were deemed to be significantly common knowledge that they didn't get warning panels. Do not iron this t-shirt whilst wearing it. Man. We have 5 before you have to get back on stage and that wrinkle is terrible. It's just the sleeve though. Stick your arm on the table. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I went to a zoo. And in every animal exhibit there was a sign saying recycled water. Do not drink. And you know that's there for a reason. Some stupid person broke into an exhibit to drink that nasty looking water. The anti-vax movement. That. And flat earthers. Christopher Columbus. A guy from the 1400s knew for a fact that the world is round. He just didn't expect the world to be so big. Or for there to be an entire continent in the way. A lot of warning labels on various products. You'll get a hairdryer with a do not insert rectally warning tag on it. While you may be inclined to wonder why it's on there, eventually you realize behind every stupid or strange warning label was a vastly more idiotic event that led to it. My job. I work in IT. For the love of God, if you depend on your computer for your job, know at least a little about it. I would say that over 80% or for silly things. Some of the calls I have taken. How do I keep myself from deleting my own files? What do you mean you cannot fix my broke laptop screen remotely? I am not trying to connect to the internet. I am just trying to get my email. My computer is off in the trunk of my car. Can you remote in it and install Outlook? I am not saying all IT jobs would go away. Just a lot of them. Q Anonymous. I have an old friend who works at a chemical plant making $35 plus an hour past all the required tests, lives in a 200k house and believes that shit no questions asked. P.S. Also thinks COVID is a hoax and is voting for Trump still. All the people he works with also believe that conspiracy bullshit. Jersey Shore. I have to admit, while I normally don't like reality shows, Jersey Shore was a guilty pleasure of mine. So ridiculous I couldn't look away. The spread of coronavirus. Yes. Came here to say this. The whole reason the US has 6.1 million cases and Brazil has 4 million is because stupid people have been told their stupidity is actually intelligence and independence. Most of conspiracy theories. But you'd never get the rare one that turns out true. I think it takes a certain amount of intelligence to even think up different things rather than just go with bland choice. Unvaccinated children. It's alright. Each one of those don't exist for very long. A significant percentage of the world population. I live in fear of idiocracy becoming reality. The instructions on a packet of toothpicks. Hey. How is life on the outside of the asylum? It's got pretty weird on the inside recently. I live in the deep south. So to keep my steering wheel from blistering my hands after work, I use a folding sunshade in my windshield. It has a warning label. Do not use while driving. Double quote. Racism. Yup, my father-in-law used to start on these rants about how black people this and that, and I say, but your delinquent son does that same shit and he is white? I don't get invited over anymore. When looking for a house and you tour the inside, sometimes there is a strip of paper over the toilet seat that says do not drink. Humans. The darn fish just decided to grow legs one day. Actually, the fish didn't decide to grow legs. What you're thinking of is a horse. Speed limits. Nah. Have to say this doesn't qualify. Drivers may not be immediately aware of road conditions in an area that require a slower speed. TikTok. Why is there so much hate for other apps on Reddit? I don't use TikTok because it is not my type. But my sister does and I sometimes watch videos with her and it is not that bad. I work for a water utility that uses a reclaimed recycled water system for irrigation and toilet flushing. Regulations require that we put up a ridiculous amount of signage that tells people not to drink the toilet water or lick the plants in the gardens. Because you know that regulation came because some idiots did those things and got sick. Anything an infomercial tries to sell you. There are some good products. But I would say most of the good ones do make it to store shelves eventually, not just the as seen on TV aisle. OxyClean is pretty much synonymous with infomercials and it has a good reputation. But I can pick it up at my grocery store now. Some products are good, but perhaps overprices. The forearm forklift works, but you might be able to get nylon straps for cheaper. We had a saying in the military. Why are there so many regulations and rules? Because some idiot tried to shortcut it in a way that nearly killed someone. No lifeguard on duty. Sign at the beach: do not shower naked. Don't leave your infant or toddler in a car. Do not iron clothes while wearing them. For external use only is one I always found funny. At my workplace, there are giant containers of soap and cleaning chemicals. On the cart, there is a giant sign that reads "Do not drink" in 3 languages. All handwritten. Apparently, before the sign was put up, 3 separate instances were found where the cleaning cart was unattended. And an employee tried to drink the yellow cleaning solution, thinking it was a drink cart. Let me add the fact that the cart also has a sign on it that says "Cleaning Supply Cart." Apostrophe. When I was in middle school, my friends and I, like 15-12-year-old girls, basically took over a mall. We were pretty rowdy and obnoxious. I know a few people shoplifted, not me lol. One of us threw up in the food court. And we mobbed a minor celebrity. Now that mall splits up groups of larger than 3 kids. Oops. Sorry. Reality TV. The For Dummies book series. The stickers on large windows and glass doors to stop people from injuring themselves by walking into through them. One time I was eating dinner at the bar of a chicly designed restaurant with a massive and marked glass wall when a guy smashed into the glass full stride. The bartender said happens all the time to make the guy feel less embarrassed, so then whispered "No it doesn't" to my wife and I. I was on work experience once with a nurse practitioner in the emergency department. He literally had a save template on his desktop partially filled in for punch-to-wall injuries. Punching walls happen so often. They have to keep a pre-filled template for it. Antifa. Exactly. If people weren't gullible enough to think Antifa was some violent catch-all leftist monster, the GOP wouldn't have invented the idea. But people really are gullible enough to believe these protests that almost never turn violent until cops start attacking or right-wing militias show up must be some leftist problem. Roller skates. The man that invented them, forgive me I forgot his name, wanted to make an entrance to a ball he was attending. So he strapped some wheels to his boots and flew right in. And into a full-length mirror. Do not take Celexa, or whatever the commercial is for, if you are allergic to Celexa. American TV ads for medication say this for those of you not from the supposed greatest country in the world. The zoo in my town has multiple signs warning visitors not to climb one fence in particular. Personally, I don't climb that fence because of the lions on the other side. I wonder a lot about who those signs are for. Having to advertise that driving drunk is bad. The Red Bull disclaimer at the end of the commercials. I remember when those commercials first came out and they didn't have it. Fences on the side of the Grand Canyon in some places. It's a giant hole. Maybe watch where you're walking. I work at a McDonald's and the do not use in play pins and cribs really got me confused as to what idiot would put a plastic bag into a crib with a baby and not expect anything bad to happen. Coffee cups from fast food places that say caution contents may be hot or contents are hot. Either one. Former pharmacy tech here. I was shocked that we had to put unwrap and insert on the label for suppository prescriptions. Alrighty. Then. The disclaimer on large advertisement boards that state, not real size. I once worked in a grocery store that had a bakery. We had a poster of a donut or cookie that was about 3 feet by 3 feet in diameter for the advertisement board. Essentially, we were forced to put the disclaimer I mentioned because a Karen came in and got mad at when she ordered her $3 donut or cookie. It wasn't the size of her. How stupid are people? Not a lot. I disagree with people who say that instructions on shampoo bottles and tags on Tid Pods mostly because someone who was only pretending to be stupid and actually very clever must have filed a lawsuit and won a lot of money. Thus every absurd tag is there to avoid further instances of the same behavior. The only thing that I can think of that exists because of stupid people is prisons. Committing a crime makes no sense. Locking up people who commit crime makes no sense, and forcibly making people who don't commit crime pay for the upkeep of criminals and prisons by way of taxes makes no sense. I went to a AutoZone on day and by the counter. They had a bunch of motor oil. There was a sign on it that said do not drink. Not an energy drink. I gave the cashier a WTF face and she sighed and explained that after stopping the 5th guy, they had to. Pet rocks. I can't believe that people actually buy these things. If people want their own pet rock, then let them go to a rick quarry. There's plenty that people can choose from. Yup. I had to do that at my dad's. Can't recall with my mom. But she had a viewing before being cremated. But when it comes to funeral stuff I'm a lot more lenient. Many people going to a funeral home are within a day or so of their relative dying and might not be in the right state of mind. The contract is both protection and a firm reminder to the grieving person because grieving people might flip-flop in their decisions. I see it as a wake the FCK up. It's permanent. Warning. I had the great misfortune of taking my hysterical aunt to the funeral home the morning after she found my uncle, who was 50, dead. She was a 44-year-old widow. Insisted the whole way that he would be cremated, but when we got in and she started talking to the director, she became hysterical all over again and told him she wanted family to be able to see my uncle and she didn't want him to burn.